fun begins.
We begin tonight's meeting of the council by calling the council to order. Hello to everyone, and thanks for joining us. The council is a live Twitch talk show and podcast discussing Star Wars, the Old Republic. I am Redna, and with me are my fellow council members, Magic Ace and Sakari.
Hello, and Magic Ace did a wave, by the way, to all of our audio listeners who see her.
I hit unmute, but people were already talking, and I didn't want to be rude, so hi.
Oh, I see.
So what are we talking about tonight, Sakari?
So there are two things on the agenda tonight. That is going to be the 5.10 Jedi Under Siege Cantina Livestream that they did. And also, we are going to be talking about the council's own interview with Matt Pusevich and Eric Musco. Matt, by the way, is SWTOR's Senior Operations Designer. I wanted to make sure to get the title. Because we had some fun with his title, I think, in the interview. So
I was going to say, I think you could have made it a little bigger, but grander. He's a grander title.
Grander, yes.
Pre-show, we were actually asking him his title, and he's like, geez, I don't really know what my official title actually is. And Muska's like, dude, you can make it up. Make it as big as you want.
And of course,
Done.
We're all about self-exalting. So we're like, please, go on. Tell us more about this title that you have.
Yes,
Well, and I had even suggested to him, you know, he could be considered the global operations director.
Yes.
Right? And then it dawned on me, wait, this is Star Wars. So that's why I think in our show notes it came out, the galactic operations director.
And what's funny is that I think that you guys handed that on to me, and that made it into the YouTube.
It did.
Awesome.
I can confirm.
It made it into the YouTube,
Excellent.
the text down below, you know, so we had a lot of fun.
Yeah.
We're going to be
Someone
talking in
linked it
depth.
to me. Someone linked it to me in Discord. They're like, why didn't you tell me about this? I'm like, tell you about what? And they're like, Matt's title.
Nice. Maybe
Yeah, it's in
maybe it will go so far as to where they'll go, you know what, we like this so much, we're actually going to make this your title. See if we can make it.
Yeah, and he'll be like, gee, thanks, guys. I got a promotion in name only. Where's the money?
Yes, it's supposed to be the Galactic Operations Manager. Magic Ace, where can people find us?
Well, I mean, here, and for those audio people who are like, well, yeah, where's that? We're on Twitch. You can find us on Twitch. You can also find us pretty much anywhere that podcasts can be downloaded. We are there. We are also on YouTube, which is amazing. We have our website, which is councilswtor.com. You can find us on Patreon, which is patreon.com/councilswtor. And wait, there's more. You can also find us at Twitter, which is at the Council SWTOR. And if you use generally any browser, I prefer Google Chrome, non-sponsored, you can find us there by typing in our names. Boom.
Yes. Non-sponsored hashtag.
Yes.
So yes, welcome everybody. We appreciate having you with us. Those of you who joined us in chat, it's going to be a fun night. Elise, unfortunately, is out tonight. It's been a busy week for her as well. So she's going to get some rest. But the rest of us will carry the show, I assure you. Let's begin tonight with a quick... we're going to try to make this very quick, but a quick icebreaker. Because you guys know what the icebreaker is. Quick few minutes that we talk. Usually we make it way longer than it should be. A little... discussion question to get things started. Tonight's question, what is your favorite operation? Feel free to answer in chat if you would like to join us in answering this question. Magic Ace, what is your favorite operation?
Well, see, I have favorite operation and I have favorite operations boss. So do you want one or both? Because they're
both.
not the same.
Sure, give us
Okay.
both. Why not?
My favorite operation by far is Terror from Beyond. But my favorite operations boss is Skyva. So
TFB. Skyva. Yes, I know you liked Skyva. I could tell from the interview that you liked Skyva.
Yeah, and I carried you through it.
You did.
This week. You're welcome.
She totally guild. What is it? Operations led us through it.
I did, and I told them all. I said, most of you are gonna die. It's okay. I'll keep us going. Half the group died. I kept us going. It's a good time.
That extinction protocol is no joke, guys.
Actually, it is. It's great.
Was this hard or nightmare mode?
No, it was not any. It was story mode. It was
Story
noob mode.
mode?
Noob mode.
This
Extinction.
isn't even a group.
No
This isn't even a
comment.
group that meets up. But that's a tangent. Anyways, how about you, Red now?
Shadow of Rethin, all the way, absolutely, or Temple of Sacrifice, whatever it's called. Actually, I
TOS.
don't know. I might like Ravagers more. I'm not sure. I'm really, really up in the air on that one. Um,
Yeah,
maybe I'll
okay.
say Ravagers instead. I really like Ravagers.
You know, I think I'm kind of with you on that. I would say Ravagers as well. I mean, right before this, I was thinking S&V because I do enjoy S&V, but it seems a little long. So I think Ravagers. That's what she said
Chat room.
joke from from Magic.
I
But
don't know what you're talking about.
like Gods from the Machine is so long. I mean, I look, I enjoy all of the Operation stuff. I really actually, and I've been enjoying it more. Like just story mode, like every day, pretty much with our guild has been a blast. But I think Red and I'm with you, man. The Ravagers, a torque fight, dude. Like close quarters, baby.
Dude, that fight is ridiculous. I actually really, really like Master Blaster. I know we've got a note later about the fact that Elise was
She can't stand it.
discouraged to learn that Matt was responsible for that one. But I actually really like Master Blaster a lot. It's a lot of fun. But actually, it's funny too because, well, especially on the hard modes, Ravagers and Temple of Sacrifice I spent the most time on any hard mode in those two operations, mostly because they were the hardest hard modes that had been released at the time. But I tanked them extensively, and they are, I think, some of the more enjoyable fights to tank in the game, almost universally. So.
Right. I will admit, as you know, because I do a lot of tanking these days as well. Tanking is you almost like will if you're used to heals or DPS. Tanking, it makes the whole operations like a completely different thing. It's an entirely different perspective, like the other side, I think. But anyway, all right. So what we're going to do tonight is a little different to a lot of things. We actually have a ton of stuff that we want to review. Like we said, there's 5.10 and all of the release that happened at the end of last week. With that, BioWare is like, okay, it's game on for 5.10, so let's get the conversation started. The council managed to score an interview with Matt and Eric on Friday. So it was like the day after, which is really cool because that's an opportunity to ask some questions, kind of follow up things. We did. We wanted to focus a lot on operations. As you know, last week we did an operations thing as well, on attitudes that players have toward each other in operations. Then there was our whole operations thing, and now we're reviewing a lot of stuff, and I'm sure operations is going to matter a lot as the discussion that we had with Matt. Well, actually, you guys had it with Matt and with Eric because I was out for that, but I got to enjoy it. It is on YouTube. Redna, I don't know if you want to find the link for us and share to chat so that people can look it up. It is on our website if you go to thecouncilswotor.com, and obviously on our YouTube channel as well. I think there's a panel down below if you're watching us on Twitch right now. It'll take you there. Do go check out the interview if you have not yet already. I promise. That said, how about we start? Let's kind of go according to time here and start with the 5.10 Jedi Under Siege live stream that they had. I know that kind of itching to get into some of those changes. Is there anything, Redna and Magic Ace, that stood out to you guys as I can't wait for this? Like what is the best feature of 5.10 that is coming just right off the top of your head?
Nightmare Gods and Sheets.
Okay. Which is
any new Nightmare content at all is a gift at this point when they said it wasn't going to happen, which I think was the whole reason why they said it was never going to happen again. So that way when it happened would be also super grateful. Not that I'm saying conspiracy theory, but conspiracy theory. That's what I'm most excited about.
Anything to you, Redna? That just stands out as heck yeah, I'm so glad this is happening.
I'm having trouble hearing because I've got YouTube videos playing now and dogs barking.
You being assaulted with sound. I will tell you, for me, one thing that I was bummed. It was actually the thing that stood out the most from the live stream to me was a bummer, and that's that they were not going to do guild heraldry as a part of 5.10. I was so looking forward to heraldry, and that's okay. Look, I'm okay with them doing that if it's going to result in a better system. I want them to get it right rather than to get it done. But I was kind of bummed that heraldry is not coming, which is going to come in December. So that means I'm expecting heraldry probably to be like a 6.0 feature. I don't know. So, a magic case, now that Redna has stepped out for a second. Nightmare Gods from the Machine. They're tying that in very much with the Masterwork armor, right? What is your perception of how all that's going to happen?
Well, since it seems like the gearing stuff changes so often, I'm a little jaded, but that's not to say that it won't be good. It's just that I'm tired of all the like different currency changes and all the different things. Like, I mean, getting rid of planetary comms, A+, good game.
Yes.
But like when they changed to crystals and then the comms again, and then just all the different things, I'm honestly just tired of it. And then they gave us components, and now I found a droid on the PTS where you can go and exchange in your components for more materials for crafting and stuff. And I'm like, really? More? I have to do more?
Right.
Part of me is pretty frustrated because just looking, like, I don't even have it all in front of me, but just looking at some of the stuff I seen on PTS, I was just like, I don't want to do any more. I've done so much. And I have been crafting like crazy to help catch up people who want to start doing hard mode and nightmare content before the new stuff comes out. So today I crafted 56 augments, and I'm sick of it already, and the new gear hasn't even dropped.
Yeah, no kidding.
And I'm like, I don't want to do it. I don't want to craft anymore. I'm tired of it. I like crafting, but I'm tired of it at the same time. But I will say this, that the craftable enhancements and stuff will be important, and I guess I'm okay with that. But the idea, they just got us used to, again, the almost like the PvP gear type thing. You trade in one, you keep the shell, and you can upgrade it to the next one. Like, they took away my PvP gear. I was salty. I cried about it. I'm sure they all heard it. They brought it back in a form for me, and now they're changing it again.
Yeah.
Personally, I'm kind of tired of the changes myself, but I know, like, I don't know what it's like to be a dev, but I assume they want to keep things moving and keep it fresh and not get too stale. But personally, I'm not looking forward to it. That's just my thing.
So, Redna, what's your take on the Masterwork gear? Just how does it appeal to you? The Masterwork is
It's absolutely absurd, and I'm kind of disappointed.
Really?
It's absolutely moronic that the best in slot gear is going to come from crafters. That's the dumbest move ever. You should be playing the game content that you need to be playing in order to get the gear, to play that gear in order to do better. You should be playing PvP to get PvP gear. It shouldn't be the same gear as your PvE gear. That was something they learned, because that's how it was when they launched, and then they put in the expertise. And then they decided to revert. Like, they unlearned all the good lessons that they learned, and now they're undoing it again. It's like it's just as bad to put it on crafters as it is to put it into the CXP process. You should be playing end game operations content in order to get end game operations gear. That's my opinion.
So I must admit, a little bit from the live stream, I was a little confused as to, because it sounded like there was some kind of a component or token or something that was going to drop exclusively from the master mode gods from the machine boss.
Yeah.
Am I correct in that?
Yes.
So that's one of the components. I'm sure the charge matter transubstantiators, CMTs I call them, that have, are kind of the way of things right now, are going to be a big feature in there. So what happens is that only really the people that run the content, I guess they can turn around and sell them on the GTN, those tokens or components or whatever they are.
I think it's the crafted pieces they can sell.
Right. The mat that's required, there's a mat that is required to do the NIM content in order to make the gear. But that's fine. It's just, whoever pays the Chinese farmers or, knows how to play the GTN, they can pay to get the best gear in slot. They don't actually have to do anything to get it.
Well, I'm
not gonna lie. Right now, we're farming. I'm running with several nightmare groups right now, and we're all just farming components like crazy and stacking them in stockpiles just so that we can afford to transfer the gear by trading in the components. Just so you know, you might want to save those. Don't waste them. Don't be gearing ults that you're not really ever going to play.
Yeah.
FYI.
Actually, so I think that's probably a good little thing for the community right now. Let's not anybody be upgrading your gear right now. Now is the time to stockpile everything yet you can. Actually, what I would say is get on the PTS, the public test server. Go get on there, go buy the schematics, learn what stuff is going to go into, and be saving the components that you can right now, so that once it comes out, it's going to happen. Because one of my concerns about this Masterwork 5th tier gear thing is that people are going to upgrade their gear, and I'm going to find myself in PvP fighting people with legendary 5th tier gear, and they're going to be a whole gear level ahead of me. And then, so everyone's going to want this gear, so definitely stockpile your components if you're wanting to.
Yeah, I
Or
did
credits.
Conquest on
Go buy
6
some
tunes
credits.
this week.
Yeah, or just play the Chinese farmers.
I got Conquest on 6 tunes this week because I needed the stuff. I'm really tired of CZ right now, but that's not the point. Anyways, okay. Did you give your opinion, Sakari? I don't remember about what you
Actually,
most excited for.
to the point that you mentioned about getting onto the test server, I did want to also mention, I don't know if we have a note about this, but it did come up in our interview that they are also making story mode easier, and that I don't think many people are considering that they could go in and test that. But anybody that like has not been doing Gods from the Machine because, you know, they're like a WOG group member and they can't get past boss whatever,
Right.
because, you know, this story mode is more like a hard mode than it is a story mode. It would be a really awesome thing if we could actually get some, you know, people that don't know how to play onto the test server and participate in some story content in order to let them know if it really is story worthy or if it's still a bit challenging for the uninitiated.
We're talking specifically about Gods from the Machine.
Right.
They're going to nerf a little bit the current story mode so it's more story-ish instead of story/hard. And then they're going to nerf Hardmare, they were calling it, the 5.10 the 5.10 live stream.
Yeah.
Right.
They said the point is
mode.
to have it balanced because now there's a 3rd tier of it, basically.
Yeah. It's a similar difficulty to other hard modes. The other interesting thing on that, and that came up in our interview, was the fact that the reason Gods from the Machine is the difficulty that it is because since they were only releasing it one boss at a time, it was a design decision that they felt they needed to continue to make it a bit more complicated, a bit more difficult in order to keep people engaged and excited about the new content. But then by the time they got to the end of it, it was like, oh my gosh, this is like, this operation doesn't start at level 1 difficulty and work its way up to level 5 difficulty. It starts at like 3 and then goes above
And then ends
into
at 7.
level 6.
Well,
Yeah,
then at the time, then though, they were also saying that there wasn't going to be any more Nightmare content, so that was supposed to appease the Nightmare raiding community. So,
Yeah, I mean, but they had said that they weren't going to be doing any Nightmare content since Ravtos, so that was no
Right.
that was no shock.
So that's what
The
I'm saying.
shock
Like
is
they
the
were
fact
saying
they
that this
did
was it. This was what we had to be okay with. So now that they're able to put out a 3rd version of it, it'll make story mode supposedly a whole lot easier for the casual, as Elise calls it, drunken Friday Night Bowling League raiders.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
did you? I still didn't remember. Did you give your opinion, Scary?
On the Masterwork stuff, I'm kind of, there's a part of me that's with you and part of me that's not. So the part of me that's not with you is kind of the hopeful side of me that is hoping that what we're going to get here is a pre-release of 6.0's gear tier, right? Because usually with like a major update, 1.0, 2.0, 3.0, they bump the levels 5. So what I would expect based on what I've experienced before, is that we're going to have, what are we now? What's our current level? 70 is the max level. They bump it up to 75. I don't know if they've confirmed or whatever that they're not going to do that. But if we're going to have 75 and this, what is it, 252 gear, 258 gear, that was on par with 75, sure, go for it. I don't, it's just being released a little early, one content cycle early. So that's kind of what I'm hoping will happen. But I'm kind of with you, Magic.
Yeah, that's actually what I had asked Matt. Unfortunately, the cameras wasn't rolling, but I posed that myself.
Right. But I think for me, though... No, go ahead.
We talked about quite a few things, but one of the things that we didn't get to mention was with the new stuff coming out, the new gears and stuff like that. They're also launching a new planet and daily area and all that jazz. Do we want to briefly mention that, or do we want to just kind of move on past it? Because we're talking all about operations at the moment, but we do want to mention that it's there.
Yeah, go for it. By the way, thanks, Big Woody. Mentioned in chat that it is confirmed that there's going to be five levels of with 6.0.
Well, Keith confirmed that during their live stream. Yes.
Yeah, we didn't talk about that. Anyways, so to just touch on it briefly, just for anybody who didn't get to watch the video, they have a new planet, Ossus. It's already on PTS. I've been there. There's definitely some bugs they're still working out, but it's okay because it's PTS. That's what it's there for. But I will say the graphics are freaking phenomenal. I have everything on ultra, as high as you can get it, the grass, trees, everything. And the water on that planet is gorgeous. I took screenshots and I was watching it and I even recorded it. It's beautiful. Outdid themselves. Absolutely. This is why
better than Manon?
I think so. Absolutely. I think absolutely. I personally, this is why I can't play other MMOs now. I'm so super spoiled by SWTOR graphics. But the planet looks really good. There's a lot of dailies. It's not boring per se. I will say there's a lot to explore. So the people that were like, oh, I want to explore. Well, this is a large area. There's multiple, it looks small when you first get there. And then once you leave that smaller area, you're like, oh, look at all of this.
Awesome.
There's lots of
I don't mind dailies areas. And I've said this, I don't know how many times on the council. I want to explore places. And that's why I like the planets as opposed to the daily areas. But I'm okay with daily areas if they're so huge you can explore. Then that makes sense to me.
Okay, so I ended up grouping up with this Juggernaut because the champion trash there is so difficult. You can't just go in with a level 50 companion and be like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna one-shot this trash. This isn't the easy stuff like we've gotten used to. This isn't level sync stuff. It's not like you're gonna go and one-shot everything. If I hadn't helped that Juggernaut and healed the Juggernaut would have died. But I helped save the Juggernaut. We teamed up and we finally was able to fight our way through, and then come to find out neither of us had a mission up there that we thought we had. And we were like, oh, it's all for nothing. But it took 20 minutes of fighting droids. So be prepared. That's kind of off topic. I just wanted to mention that on top of the new content that's coming out, that's also Ossus with a storyline as well. Not operations, but important to mention.
Two things I think we need to mention as well at this point. Magic, when you're on the PTS, how do you access Ossus?
Okay, so you can't just pick up a mission because, see, they're trying to protect the story, the integrity of the story. They don't want everybody to give away spoilers. So you can't go and, do the mission and whatnot.
The mission would lead you there ordinarily, right?
Right. Okay. So, when you do the Prelude to Shadow of Revan, you go talk to a droid, or you go to your ship, and then it tells you to go talk to a droid, and then you go start the mission. You can't do that on the PTS due to the fact that they're protecting the story. Okay. So what you're going to need to do is, or how I had to do it is, I'm in a guild over there, and I had to use the guild ship. They had to park the orbital ship on Ossus in order for us to get down to it. Once we got down to it, we could find the little speeder. That's what I'm looking for, speeder, and it takes us out. But I would recommend, if you're wanting to do the dailies, you pick up the dailies on the board first, and it's not super obvious because it doesn't light up until your mouse hovers over it. But there's a board, you click it, there's a bunch of dailies you pick up, and it lights up the green arrow for the speeder and tells you where to go. But if you don't have a guild ship, I don't know how you're going to get there. So I suggest you try to find a guild on the PTS.
Okay, so that's good to know. I'm glad that you had
you could make a guild too. There's a little terminal where you can get 500,000 credits per click. Just do that 20 times.
So that droid was working fine, but there's, I guess, a bug or something that to pick up the new gear and masks that you're supposed to pick up from the other droids that are on the area, and that's on Odessen, not on Ossus. That's on Odessen. So you can get there without a guild ship or guild. You can't pick up the augments or anything else there for some accounts. Some accounts you can, and some of them says you don't meet the requirements. I was one of those accounts, so I can't pick up any of the new gear or do any of the new stuff because it gives me red text that says I do not meet the eligible requirements. But the person right next to me is like, oh no, I can get it just fine. And they start linking me a bunch of stuff that they've got in their chat. I'm like, or in their inventory. I'm like, well, that's
so why did you not meet the requirements?
I guess they're supposed to fix that soon.
Okay, so it's probably some bug or something.
Yes, this is why we do not have the questions that they were going to answer us today, because they're working to fix the test server right now.
Yeah, they're very busy. And that's fine. I'm okay with him doing that because maybe we can juice something out of him. Some follow-up
were
questions for next week.
There was also some trolling going on by people like Matt on PTS, just saying.
Really?
I didn't even think to give you the screenshots that I took, but that would have been great. You know, the companion Skadge? There's like a 30-foot Skadge just in the middle of Ossus. And then
That's awesome.
Then there's another one that is in the Odessan, like your war room stronghold type area. Like I go down and I'm gonna go talk to someone. I think I had an alliance alert. I wanted to see if I could access it. Oh, that's what it was. Kimval. I was like, ooh,
Okay.
alliance alert. I went down there and it won't let you access it because they're protecting story. But I go down there and I'm like, what the heck? Literally, there's a Skadge up to the ceiling and his head touches the ceiling. And my person, my toon, her head come to his kneecaps. It's huge. There's also a gigantic Graphic. There's a bunch of really cool stuff in there. I'm saying if you've not been on the PTS, you should. That's off topic. Go back.
Yeah,
go ahead and
definitely
post back on.
So that's good. That actually brings me right back to my second thing that I wanted to say, and that is, how do you get onto the PTS? It's a question that we revisit every time there's something cool to go on there and see. What I will say, the short version I would say, is go to Volk's website, volk.com, and just search in his little search thing, click the magnifying glass, and search for PTS. He has a whole guide on how to install it, how to copy your characters over, all that kind of stuff. I would just be careful on the PTS. Don't spend any cartel coins because you are actually spending them from your account.
I don't think it'll let you because when I opened it up, it said 0 and it said the cartel market is currently down. And
okay,
so
if they've
if you want
disabled
an
it, that's
outfit,
awesome.
if you want an outfit on the PTS, make sure it's in your inventory when you transfer the character because you can't reclaim anything out of there. I found that out the hard way.
Yeah, you don't have access to your collections.
You lose anything on your person as well. I think your character designer gets reset as well, doesn't it? And you lose anything that you had stored in your character.
Yes, exactly. So like, luckily the toon that I found, Skadge on Ossus, I had the gear that I just put an outfit on for her still in her inventory. So when I transferred her, I'm like, oh, well, she gets one outfit at least.
Yeah, well, and luckily I don't care what my character looks like, so I don't bother.
Well, I just got a brand new outfit.
That's another way to do it.
And I bought the black on black dye pack when it was on flash sale the other day. So I was really excited. I wanted that outfit back. But anyways, we have more to talk.
Also, for a real easy way to get onto the test server, open your launcher like you're going to log into the game. In the bottom left-hand corner, there's a cog. Click it.
Right.
One of the choices is enable public test server access. Set it to yes. Hit save, and then log in.
Okay, but so there's problems with that though. Number one is that the test server is an entirely separate install of the game.
Yes, that's the key you need to know. You're going to be. It's an entire second copy of the game, so it's like another 35 or 40 gigabytes of download.
So you're also going to lose.
Especially people like in Australia where they've got data caps and stuff like that. Just be aware you might be using up your monthly allotment.
Yes.
Yeah, I didn't know that when I downloaded it, and I was like 20 minutes late to one of my nightmare raids. They were not happy with me, but I was like, I'm not stopping this for anything, so I'm sorry.
Right.
And they made sure to let me know about it later. But be prepared. It's going to take time.
So yes, yes. I do want to say something. Let's be very careful. I see that Chad is mentioning certain things. I do not. It's a policy, and I actually meant to get into this right at the start. We want to make it a policy on the council not to discuss data mined content because we don't want to spoil anything. These heads up on. Okay, so there's a number of other things going on here. One of them is guild perks. Guild progression, etc. So let's spend a minute or two talking about guilds. We can level up our guilds.
They're amazing. Oh, sorry. That kind of talk.
It sounds amazing, but like I said, I'm bothered that there's no heraldry. It was a bummer for me. I'm going to say that again. But
it's coming. Be patient. I mean, you waited this long for operations. You can wait a little bit longer,
right.
Okay?
Yes, no. I'm really keen on this heraldry thing. I think it's going to be great when it. But right now they announced that by completing your operations or your conquest every week, you can level up your guild. The more you level up your guild, I'm told that there are guild perks, like for instance being able to fine tune how your conquest works, so that you can kind of gear it more toward what your guild likes to do. What do you guys think of that idea?
I like it. But I also hate it because that means I have to do more work when I'm in a guild.
You have to pick a guild essentially instead of
It's
being
a
spread out.
love-hate relationship. And right now I'm in like 5 different guilds. Like,
Do you really care that much about conquests in all 5
yes.
guilds?
Yeah, well, I mean,
No.
I'm only in conquests
Because
for
I'm in
one
like
of the
5 different
guilds.
guilds, and I don't care about conquests in any of them.
No, I'm actually 2 of the guilds I'm in is purely for raiding, and we don't really do anything. We just raid together. And then the other guilds I'm in is because we do stuff together and we interact often, other than raids. And in fact, I often say, "Oops, I gotta go. I have raids again." But basically, I have one guild that is for conquest type stuff, and it's not even a conquest guild. I just like helping them because they get really excited about it, and I like getting the benefits of that too. I even on Starforge, I have a tune that I've been doing conquest with. She hit conquest today, and I only play on Starforge once in a blue moon, so I
Well,
like it.
if you've got some strongholds behind you, conquest is
I
easier
do.
to do. You just have to complete like 2 of the major big activities and some side.
I was
little
on
bit of stuff.
Shadowlands before I went to Harbinger, so I had all of them except for Tatooine on Starforge. Then I came here, and now I have all of them, but you haven't 4 on this one because it's on Starforge. So I have all of them. It helps with conquest.
So
But no, I do think that it's a great change that they're giving some control to the guilds about what it is that's required for the guilds to do conquest stuff. Creativity within guilds and communities, I think, is a much better way to manage it. Yeah, so for me, it just sounds great.
I agree.
And less they're saying here less emphasis on daily repeatable objects. So they're actually going to roll back a little bit on.
See, I don't like that.
To the
Because that's why I
older,
made conquest on like 6 different tunes this week. Why they do this to me?
yeah. Well, I mean, I must admit, a change that they did to Conquest that I'm not that much of a fan of is, hey, you can only do this on one tune, this specific objective. So if I take that tune in and go do TFB, for instance, that's TFB burn for my whole legacy, and that only with that one tune gets it. Then I'm going to find something else to do with the other tunes. Now, granted, it's good that it forces you to do different activities with different tunes, but if I wanted to, run it on a DPS and run it on my tank, for instance, I don't have those options. I'm less incentivized to do it from the conquest perspective on a secondary. I'd like to that return to, which I think is a bit of a rollback to what they used to have. We'll see. Looking forward to those changes, though, definitely. Like, I think guild improvements is something that this game has needed a long time, and not just like a landing page, like they were saying they're going to introduce, but a lot of the conquest stuff. So, landing page, guys, and all kinds of other, like guild mail and logging. So, for instance, you're going to be able to look up, hey, what's the history of this guild for the last X amount of days, I guess, and you'll be able to see who's joined the guild and who's left the guild. You don't like it?
So if you really want to be a troll, you can just go join and, like, join and leave multiple guilds and just troll the crap out of them. Not that I would do that, and I don't endorse that, but I do know people do stuff like that.
Yes.
See, I guess I'm a very private person in some respects, so to me, like, having everybody just be able to inspect everything, even though I know it's a game, I'm like, excuse me, that's my personal stuff. I don't want you looking.
You don't want your guild to know when you try to slip out the door at the dead of night when there's you're the only one on.
When they started putting the legacy name where it was visible, I was like, I don't like this. What if I PvP with someone and tick them off because I teabagged them, and now they're gonna hate me and blackball me everywhere I go? They're like, I remember that name. They'll just
legacy ban you now, so problem solved.
Right? That's why I'm like, this isn't good, and I have to behave. What's wrong with you, SWTOR? I don't really like it.
Well, the legacy bans are only for the guild management. It is not something that you can do on your personal account.
I know, but I feel like it's coming, and I'm gonna start getting banned. Everybody's gonna hate me. It's okay. So, I know there's worse trolls out there, so I guess I can live with that.
There's a challenge that I've had recently with guild management that is like. And Magic, you poor thing, was the recipient of the problem. But it's like, hey, how on earth do you grant your people in your guild the ability to use the guild ship to summon everyone to a specific spot? I mean, is it what permission do you grant? And I hope that in the mix of this stuff, that's one of the things that they actually define as a separate, entitlement that you can grant somebody. Because I had to go do some research, like how do you grant the ability to do this? Upsetting. Meanwhile, I've got people on Discord telling me, "Hey, I need the ability to do this. I need the ability to do that." And
when he means people, he means me.
yes,
Because
well,
I'm
no,
a nag.
you weren't the only one.
I have him. I can message him on multiple platforms, and I did. And I was like, "Hey, fix this, please. Thanks."
Yeah, I might have got blitzkrieged on the permission. So definitely, I think everybody agrees that guild permissioning has been a problem.
Like giving the gold keys, that was the worst.
Because it's not even.
It was terrible.
If I've got 500 people in my guild and I want to grant one specific character a gold key, I have to look through all of the pages, non-alphabetized, let me tell you, to find them to be able to grant them a gold key. And then once you do grant it, then it categorizes them differently. So there you go. But yeah, there's some serious love that the guild stuff is needed for a lot.
The messages are really exciting too. Just being able to send a message instead of needing to do it in Discord every time. You could just send everybody a message and be like, "Hey, we're gonna do this now."
Yes. Random mentions in chat, SWTOR, what is it, SW Cantina 2018 as the code to redeem. There's a flare with that. I think that's the only thing it grants, right? Is a flare,
yes.
But it's a
right.
it's
no
really
speeder or pet this time, but it is. Yeah, I actually really like the flare. For once, I've actually used it.
I'm not gonna lie, pets are cute, but the same droid reskinned 15 times is losing its appeal.
Yes.
So I'm good.
Or more than once. I've got 2 of the same droid that shows up in my mail every character I make.
Yeah, I
it's
have
like
that
30
with
emails of droids, and they're all like reskins of those little gree droids.
I have that with the Rise of the Hutt Cartel one. I get one of the titles with it twice. And then whenever I get a new tune, I get double the mail, and I have to delete a whole set of stuff and keep the other. But
yes.
What can you do?
So the flare is actually really cool. Like ordinarily, when I know everybody who redeems this, and it can be absolutely anybody, is going to have this thing, it loses value instantly for me, because I think there's something that's cool about having something that's exclusive. This is why people want the Wings of the Architect exclusive.
This is why I'm salty that you don't pre-order anything else, because I pre-ordered to pay for my Rise of the Hutt Cartel Hollow Huts. Thank you very much. And that Macron Creeper, I paid for that. I prepaid for it. Everyone else, they just got a sub and they get content. You're welcome. I paid for that.
Yes, but I actually really like this flare. Is really cool. Like it's just really, it's awesome. It's got a little thing that hangs up next to your character's name, like nameplate, and then also, it surrounds the character frame. I think is definitely SW Cantina was the thing 2018.
Yes.
I want to bring up. Have we talked about? I don't think we did talk about it. Just a little bit. We mentioned some of the stuff coming out. We mentioned Ossus. Did we mention about Melora? Because I personally want to talk about that for a little bit.
By all means, take us into Melora. I actually have a slide prepared for this, but it's the who is she slide.
Bring it on.
Okay.
So back in the day when you had to do every single side mission by the time you got off of your opening planet to be able to get to fleet and do the things you needed to do, which is like level 10, so you could get legacy stuff.
Actually, I just did it. And finishing Droman Koss, I was level 41, thank you.
Listen, I said back in the day. This was back in the day. So
41 on Droman Koss. That's awesome.
Let me finish.
Like you're almost like the Dark Council by the time you get done on Droman Koss.
Yes, it's absurd. I did every quest I came across. I made sure to open up the map and hit the checkbox, and did every quest. Yeah, 41 and 2 planets.
Anyway, please continue, Magic.
One of these missions, back before you could speeder because you had to unlock the area, when you actually had to manually walk your way up to this little quick travel point, there's a dude that is hanging over this Tukata, that's the one I'm looking for. This Tukata brain, sorry, I'm tired. He's like looking at this body, and he's like, oh, woe is me, something terrible happens. You go talk to him, and he says, I've made scientific breakthrough about the Force and blah, blah, blah. And he gives you his spiel. And either you can be like, wow, you're crazy. Or you could be like, I'm mildly impressed. Tell me more. If you end up wanting to help this guy, he says, go talk to my apprentice, Melora. You go talk to her, and she gives you an idea like, hey, I think he's crazy. Why don't you undermine him and help me out? Yes, the picture that we've seen. She's like, why don't you help me out and give me the brain first before you give it to him? if you do light side, you're helping her. If you do dark side, you're helping him. And you rat on Melora, and she gets punished for it. Which these choices that you make in that will matter later on. Or if you didn't do that quest at all, I think that also, like, you never have that back knowledge of her or background information. Either way, eventually, like, either you punish her or you help her or you ignore the mission altogether. So now Melora is a big shot because the Sith has been pretty much devastated, like the Jedi was with Zakul and all of the happenings going on. Now Melora is an essential part of the story, and she's following in the footsteps of her master, if yet slightly different. If not slightly different, is what I was trying to say.
Yes.
So Melora is all deep into, I would say, like, Sith alchemy and that kind of stuff, trying to get to change things with the Force that maybe shouldn't be changed. And then there's a
most unnatural.
Yes,
is a key word
that's
there.
good. That's good. So depending on whether you're Republic or Imperial, or whether you betrayed your faction, it gives you a different side of the story. But you'll be seeing Melora in there. I personally like that because I love when they, and I've preached this on this show, I love in the new content when they reach back and they grab something from before to bring it back all together. I love the circular semblance there where it's like, hey, we're all about the circle of life and we're bringing you back to that moment, but now you're still moved on. I know it's cheesy, but I really enjoy that. Just like in Rishi, when you got to have a holo call from someone in your past, I was like, yes, thank you.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I love the paths crossing again kind of thing, because then you catch up on, oh my goodness, what's happened since. And by the way, so Magic, while you were talking, I showed a slide of Melora and Lord Renning, who is the one that she's working for. Yes. He's the one that's dissecting the Tukata as you go get the brain or whatever, bring it back. Oh, look how mottled it is. And you can betray her at that moment and kind of sell her out to him, or you can kind of stand up for her and kind of side with her. Part of me hopes that that she remembers. And when you cross... Okay, good. Well,
actually, okay, I can't truly say that because
you don't know the story.
I'll just say this. The policy about we don't do that content doesn't mean I didn't do a little research into the subject. Based on what people are speculating, it says she does, but you don't know. Okay. I'll put it this way. The agent storyline, when you do the Traitor Amongst the Chiss, if you were a female agent and you got to kiss your Saganu, Arasaka Saganu, he remembers you. He mentions it. You know, he's like,
that's
hey.
Good. I'm happy if they retain that data from when you made that decision way back in the day, and then they can consult it again. That's awesome.
So I assume that it would do that.
I don't think there's a single character I didn't betray her on. So I should probably try it the other way.
Because I try to do every option possible at least once. But yes, I do think, like, what would be the point of bringing back a character that you've seen vaguely if they wouldn't acknowledge that? So I personally think they will. It seems like common sense to me, but I don't want to make it sound like they're dumb if they don't. So I'm not trying to say that. I'm just saying, to me, it seems like common sense.
Well, I mean, you've had other ones where you have Lord Scourge with you, right? And then you bump into the Emperor and he says nothing. And it's like,
wait,
what?
They brought Scourge back?
No, like this is back from vanilla. If you had Scourge and then you took him to fight the Emperor, like Scourge was there with you, facing the Emperor, and they didn't have any kind of interaction. So I mean, there's things like that where it's like, well, missed opportunities. I'm just hoping that this is not one of those. That's what I'm going to say.
Missed opportunities and things like that where I'm like, why? It was perfect.
Yes, it would have been great.
But that's a tangent.
So I do want to show the title slide one more time. This is the title slide we used for tonight. I pulled this straight from the live stream. And there with the red saber is Darth Melora. So it looks like she's colored her hair a bit. And it looks like she's wearing some of the armor that is, I forget the name of this armor set, but I have a character in that armor right now. So I'm kind of bummed that they've got like a major character wearing that armor. But I'll have to figure out what the armor is. If anybody knows in chat, please let us know.
Yes, but it is a different color than your armor. But I don't know if you use
Mine is red and black. I'm like...
I thought yours was red and white and black.
No.
Like
that's my character's armor. I'm like, oh.
Oh, well.
But it's one of the coolest masks I've seen in the game on that set.
It's like the awkward moment when you bump into someone at the store and you're both wearing the same shirt and you're like, ugh.
One of us has to change, yeah.
Yeah. That's why I changed one of my characters' name from Lana, because they launched Lana. I'm like, nope.
Yeah, ain't doing it.
Call me a fangirl.
Nope.
I immediately changed your name, and thus Miss Arrogance came about. But anyways, so should we mention Matt? Like, talk a little bit about Matt for background purposes here? So we got to interview Matt in Musco. Thank you guys for that. We appreciate that. I personally didn't know a lot about Matt, and the only thing I really knew about Eric was the things that my illustrious council members had said, because they all know everybody. And as you guys may or may not know, I'm the person in the council that knows the least about this stuff because I didn't care up until last year. So
you're a micro celebrity now, Magic.
Yeah. Anyways, I
Whatever that
personally was really thrilled to talk to Matt. It was great. I thought he was adorable talking about the operations. He looks super excited about all of it, which is exciting for me because I find them all super exciting. I want to mention that he said he was from Mythic. And
right.
Yes, he was originally from Mythic, and they just casually asked, like, hey, how do you feel about Star Wars? He's like, man, you know, I like it. Good stuff. And now
Shift
he's the person doing all this stuff for us. So thanks for that.
Yes.
Well, and Elise actually even mentioned that a lot of game journalists have suggested that SWTOR was built on the acquisition of Mythic. So
sounds that way, the way that he.
I'll take your word for it, because again, I don't know. I'll take your word for it. No, but Matt is responsible, in case if you guys don't know, and if you do, I'm going to tell you anyways. Matt is responsible for Sparky from Ravagers, which was my favorite hard mode boss that
Sparky's
I did.
a fun boss in hard mode.
I love Sparky. It was fun. Healing on an operative when I didn't normally hard mode heal on an operative was really fun.
I tanked it.
I enjoyed it.
Getting thrown around like a ragdoll. Yeah.
He's also responsible for Revanite Commanders. Thanks for that.
So wait, hold on.
Responsible for Revan.
He's very good at trash pulls. That's what I'm going to say, because the Revanite Commanders is a very extended trash pull. So like, and then you realize, hold on a moment, he does a lot of trash pulls. Because go ahead, what was the other trash that he did?
Well, I wouldn't call Brontes trash, but he did Brontes, something. Yeah, he's in charge of Brontes, the S&V operations chief, and all the S&V trash of the Underworld Arms Traders. So for those of you who wiped on that trash,
the yellow circles,
you can thank Matt for that.
Right.
Or the people who run their grenade into the group just to see how many people they can kill. You can thank Matt for that. And also Master and Blaster. I know they are favorites of people who don't. At least
it's like this. She had like a gigantic thumbs down.
Yeah, she was so not happy to watch. She wasn't happy at all. So
I know, and I was so excited. I was like, "Oh, awesome!"
She was like, "No." That was really fun.
But I didn't want to ruin her disappointment.
Because he was like giving a thumbs up, and she was giving a thumbs down, and it was like
he's
this
like,
little.
What? No, it's easy, and she's like, "Excuse me." Like, no, it's not.
Oh yeah.
So okay, so he's responsible for those, which I like most of them. The only thing I can't say that I love, that I actually enjoy, is Master and Blaster. I can't say that I love or enjoy that, not because it's bad, just because every time I do it, I end up doing it with groups who don't really like it either, and we just struggle, and I don't like to struggle.
You know how it's a common phrase in operations groups where they say, "Don't stand in stupid."
It's everywhere.
No, everywhere. Right. I understand that.
That's why.
But you weren't enjoying it.
People out of doing it.
You weren't enjoying it though, because you didn't understand that saying has a sister, which is "Don't play with stupid."
Oh well, I mean, Group Finder, which brings me to the point I was about to bring up. This was something Elise said, and I wanted to make sure we mentioned this since she couldn't be here tonight to mention it herself. So we ask because I brought it up because I just genuinely wanted to know, seeing since I've had so many issues with Group Finder operations, why they made things like difficult, like why Underlurker is still impassable for some types of people. Is it like graphics type things, or blah blah? And Matt and Eric genuinely seem surprised that there are people that still struggle with Underlurker and Gods and Machines story mode.
Yeah.
They think they shouldn't struggle with it, and that they should just be able to breeze past this stuff. And it was very appalling to Elise, who has not been past, I think she said, in the huts. So
right, or Underlurker.
They are encouraging
really?
us.
She hadn't passed Underlurker either?
No. I think she did once.
Well, granted, if you're only running with WOG, you are going to have struggles in those departments, because they are challenging for story mode.
She was complaining that it only that it took them like 5 or 6 times to complete Ravagers, and I was sitting there thinking, "Wow, WOG finished Ravagers." I'm impressed.
Which I did mention in the video that, to be fair, they literally pull crap for no gosh dang reason other than just for the pure enjoyment because they're kind of tipsy. So that's not the whole sum of Operation Scripts, obviously. But my point in bringing that up is because Matt said that he absolutely wants people to get on PTS right now and try story mode, hard mode, and nightmare because, in whatever their veteran mode, master mode crap they call it, because I mentioned that on there too. They want you to get on there and try it out because they want to know, is it too hard for the average raider who wants to get in and do a story mode op? They know it's long, they know it's lengthy, but then, so is SNV, and people can get through SNV but somehow can't get through this one. So they're encouraging us to get on PTS and try it. Get on Discord and start getting people together who have successfully completed it and it's more difficult story mode here on this server, on the live servers. Go jump into PTS and try it because they need your feedback. They need you to tell them it's too hard.
So, yeah, but that's what's going to happen, though. Everyone's going to get on, and everyone's going to tell them it's too hard, and then they're going to nerf it. Why don't they just nerf it now?
That's not going to happen because they already are working on things. They have to nerf it a little bit or it won't be equal because they have to have a story mode, a hard mode, and a nightmare mode. Right now, currently, from what I've been hearing, Nim Tithe is way overtuned, and the accidental kill came from Matt himself, is what I believe I heard correctly. But if they don't get feedback from the actual players, then they're going to keep getting surprised, like how surprised they were that people are still frustrated with Underlurker. They seem genuinely shocked. They're like, what? No, right. That's that. They said there should be no reason you shouldn't complete a story mode op. Everyone should be able to complete a group finder story mode op, which made us kind of giggle because we're like, we know that that's not the case with everything. Granted, every group will be different because you have some people who are, what's the term? Sandbagging it. Where they're basically just a lump that you're dragging with them and they're not pulling their weight. So I know that stuff happens, but if you don't get on there and tell them, it's going to be difficult for them to change it. That's just I'm telling you guys that because that's what they told me to say without telling me to say that. They encouraged me
right.
to get the word out there. I haven't signed an NDA. I'm not an influencer. They don't actually tell me what to say. He was just saying, please get on there, do this, tell us what we can do to make it better.
Yeah, so generally speaking, that is kind of like a blanket statement. You're going to be closer to acceptance by the vast majority of people if you have the vast majority of people playing and testing. The more people that can get on there and test, the better their data set is to say, okay, we can probably make a tweak. And the closer it's going to be to being like mass community acceptance. So definitely, I mean, there's no wrong, there's no any problem with jumping on the PTS and testing. They don't want to spoil the story for you, so it's stuff everybody knows is coming out. So definitely, if you can and if you are so inclined, go jump on the PTS. Definitely.
Okay, so I just want to put up the one thing that's important for me from these live streams and interviews, which is that apparently Gods from the Machine has story. So I've never encountered that. I still have no idea what the story is about Gods from the Machine. But Musco said that it's meant to be similar to like the Revan operation. Like
it
Ravagers
caps the story,
totally
right?
Stands alone. Right, this is supposed to cap the story. So where do you get those quests? And what does this have to do with Kotet? Because I was pretty sure the culmination of
Red, I think I can help you out on this.
Was the death of the wannabe family. I mean, the Emperor.
I think I can help you out on this. So have you played to the point where, and it's real, like at the very beginning of the traitor storyline,
which is not part of the expansion. That's all post.
Yeah, it's post Kotet, agreed. But if you get to that point,
these giant robots with attitude are supposed to be a bigger threat and a bigger capstone than the Emperor or his children.
Yes, but
yes. Okay.
So it's almost like they're a threat that's been dormant, but it's been triggered now with all of this activity on IOCAP. And so yes, you kind of so let me argue a little bit against Shadow of Revan.
I wouldn't say it was triggered. I would say it's great.
Supposed to be more powerful than the Emperor, who was essentially immortal, consuming entire worlds.
Well, isn't that what Revan was as well? Right.
Well, let's
so Revan was this big, powerful boss, but he wasn't the one consuming entire worlds. But you cap off the whole Shadow of Revan expansion with essentially a fight against Revan.
which was also, a boss that was derived from multiple video games in an entire franchise
Okay.
with deep storytelling and an entire operation behind it, as opposed to telling me that, 2 expansions and what, arguably would also be included in the entire Revan storyline in the Old Republic as a whole would be the
Well,
Immortal
hang on,
Emperor.
Magic.
So
But these robots are the culmination of it. It's like, hey, let's pull these robots that we've never heard about in any of the storytelling and call them the end of the expansion.
Well, I'm gonna say this. Hang on. So, Shadow of Revan is not finished by the TOS raid though, because what Revan is doing. No, hang on. What Revan is doing is trying to make that orb machine work so that he can kill everyone on Yavin 4, which you thwart him doing, and then he gets away, and then you go kill him with everybody, with the Wookiee and with Lana and with Darth Maul and with Satil Shan at the end of the Shadow of Revan expansion. That's the story.
Oh, okay. No, but that isn't the story. If you choose to go to the operation,
this is going to spill over, I guarantee, tonight into the
So you had the
no, that's fine.
the
But
video
you're
for
actually
patrons.
wrong. You're actually wrong because there is a single player story that when you get to the end of it on Yavin 4, you choose: do you want to complete this story in the operation, or do you want to go watch your companions kill Revan? But the culmination is the killing of Revan.
That's
and
just to
if
get
you choose
past
operation.
that.
The culmination of that story is not Mar and all these other people. It's you and your operations group going and killing Revan.
So where does Revan go?
culmination.
You're fighting Revan on the 3rd tier, and he disappears, and suddenly you're fighting the orb. Where does Revan go? You don't kill him.
He's behind it.
You don't loot his boss. You loot a box.
Yes, afterwards.
You don't
because
loot his
stop
body.
him so that you can stop the machine that he's trying to use.
You don't loot his body. Where does he go?
It's because it's the end of the cutscene where you're with your companions and you talk to him.
This
That's
is going to be a
the
great
story.
debate. I'm going to enjoy every bit of it.
No, it's not a debate though. Go play the game.
I
Play through Yavin 4 and choose operation.
We're totally going to poll this for next week. This is going to be the poll.
Okay. real quick. Listen.
Okay.
So they give it to you in both forms, but you're still supposed to at least one time not choose operation and do it by yourself so that you can see the cutscene, because the cutscene is the cap on it, because without that cutscene, you don't know about him being free. After you destroy the device, you don't know about the Emperor rising again, and you hear his disembodied voice, and Mars like, oh no, blah, blah, blah. So therefore, if you don't see that cutscene, you don't know to go to your ship and pick up the part where you go meet Mar and he finds the people out in Zakul, and you're like, oh no, there's another Emperor, and then it starts into the next expansion. You don't pick up Ziost. You don't do all that. So you do kind of have to see that cutscene to know that.
Sorry, yeah. This okay. So I know this is going to spill over.
Once you kill it,
Looting the boss completes the quest, and then once you've completed that quest, the other ones open up afterwards. This is just like, but again, that wasn't the capstone. But Ziost and those additional things that were released later weren't the capstone of the expansion. The capstone of the expansion was the defeat of Revan.
Yes, and you defeat him single player.
But they were saying that that's the same for Gods from the Machine. At what point were the Gods from the Machine ever mentioned?
This is what I was trying to say that Sakari kept telling me to wait. This is what I was trying to say. There is story element, because there's leading up to it. Even if you listen or you read it in the box, you hear Skyva talking to each of them, each place you go to. When you get to Isaacs and you're fighting Isaacs, who is the person that helps you? Skyva. Skyva is helping you in the fight against Isaacs. So
I actually want to dig deeper into the lore on that.
If you're not listening,
yeah.
What was that?
I want to dig deeper into the lore on that too, because I've never beaten Isaacs, but I had a good shot at him this week and got to experience some of that, and that was new to me. So I mean, we don't have time in this episode to dig deep on that, but I actually want to go like, what's the lore behind Skyva Knight, and why does she turn on him?
Well, on the hut, you can hear Skyva telling him to stand down. She says, "Stand down, son of shadows."
Right.
Why would she be telling him that if there's not some kind of story to go with it? The fact is that you're so consumed trying to get through all the mechanics, you can't understand the story because you're so busy. But if you are recording it and you go back and look at your box, you can see all the things. I know because I've read them. There is, in fact, a story. It's just difficult to get to. If you don't know to look for it, you're not going to know the story. It's not a quest you pick up. It's while you're in the operation.
It's like you can hear Garge, hey, Garge, look upon Garge and die. We've done that 10,000 times. It's on such farm mode, we can almost quote
20,000.
20,000. Well, okay. Well, because now it's on farm mode, we can actually pay attention to the story. I'm sure sooner or later it will. Once they nerf story mode down to where we can all run that in us.
Yes. Okay. Just a quick mention because everybody has been buzzing about it. There was a prank that was pulled in the live stream from SWTOR where they hinted at Malgus, and they were like, "Just kidding, it's Melora," basically. So for everyone out there who's wondering, it's been mentioned. We know they made the joke. We appreciate it. It got everybody excited. We know it's Melora. We've seen the screenshots. We've seen story elements to it without mentioning the story. So that being said, we would like to now say thank you so much to everyone who is in the chat today. We want to say thank you to the people who were talking, the people who were lurking. Lurkers are very important. We appreciate you. Thank you to the people who download our podcast. It's been great. And for the people who watched our interview on our YouTube channel, you can get that interview on YouTube. So if you were here tonight looking for the interview, it's on our YouTube channel, which is just go to YouTube and type in the Council SWTOR. It should be the closest one up to the top. We just want to say thank you to everyone. There was no poll this week, and that's because of the interview. So thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. You're greatly appreciated.
Indeed.
Indeed, and I need to scroll to my show notes so that I can say that we've reached the end of the show and the council is adjourned, but I don't see them on here. Where's the note? Oh, it's because we've got 20 pages of pictures.
Yes, we have all the screenshots in our show notes. That brings us to the end of the episode. The council is adjourned. If you'd like to reach us, you can email us at thecouncil@thecouncilswotor.com. Like our Facebook page at facebook.com/thecouncilswotor. You can find Elise on Twitter at Abron35, Magic Ace at the Magic Ace, me at R3DM4, and Sakari at I am Sakari. Also, don't forget our Patreon page at patreon.com/thecouncilswotor, where patrons can catch all the articles we're talking about behind the scenes and get exclusive backstage access to our after show chat. That's it for this week, guys. Why, you stuck-up, half-witted, scruffy-looking nerf herder!
That's Red.
I understand.
You are on this council, but we do not grant you the rank of master.
What? How can you do this? This is outrageous. It's unfair. How can you be on the council and not be a master?
Take a seat, young Skywalker.
Forgive me, Master.